A fantastic day. We are moving on to topic 16-2 in our geometry unit, and we are going to be learning today about line segments, rays, and angles. So yesterday we talked about perpendicular lines. Those were lines that crossed each other to make a 90-degree angle, that perfect square. We talked about parallel lines. Those were two lines that ran next to each other that would never ever touch. We talked about intersecting lines, lines that cross each other but do not make a right angle. And we also talked about points, which are just randomly placed sometimes in space or on lines. And then we talked about lines, and lines go on and on and on in both directions. They end in an arrow on both sides to signify to you an infinite number of possibilities in their length, okay? So today we're going to expand upon that and talk about line segments, rays, and angles. Let's get started. So our words to know for today are right angles. I want you guys to think right angles are a big L, okay? A right angle, it makes a big L. It's at 90 degrees. That's the value of a right angle. Then we have an obtuse angle. So if you can see here, they have this perforated line that's showing you where 90 would be. And the obtuse angle is this. It starts up here and it goes down this way. It's showing you that an obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. So you could classify any angle 91 degrees all the way up as an obtuse angle. Then we have a straight angle. It's just perfectly flat. It has a value of 180 degrees. We have a line segment. A line segment is a part of a number line that is shared in between 2 points. So it ends with points on both ends. So in this instance, it's line segment GR. Then we have a ray, and angles are actually made up of rays because they share a point and then they extend in one direction. So the ray is similar to a line segment, but what's different is it's a combination of both. So it does have an end point, but it continues on to infinity in the opposite direction, and that is a ray. So let's get rolling.
What geometric terms are used to describe parts of lines and types of angles? Think about this question during the lesson.
So here we have a line. It has arrows going both ways to show infinite possibilities. Then we have the line segment. It has 2 endpoints. Then we have our ray. It has 1 endpoint and 1 arrow going off to infinity.
A line segment is a part of a line with 2 endpoints. Why doesn't a line have endpoints and a line segment does? A line doesn't end, so it has no endpoints. A line segment does end at its endpoints. A ray is a part of a line that has 1 endpoint and continues on forever in one direction. Does a ray only have 1 point? No. A ray has infinite points. It has only 1 endpoint, though. An angle is a figure formed by 2 rays that have the same endpoint.
So their endpoint would be right here. So you can actually imagine a little dot right here. That would be the endpoint for both of these rays.
Angles are given special names depending upon their size.
So this angle right here forms a right angle. It's 90 degrees. You could make a perfect square out of the angle. It's the big L. This one is a right angle.
This is a right angle. How can you describe its size? A right angle is a square corner. This is an acute angle.
So an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. So the right angle would be going straight up from here. The acute angle is less than 90. So you can think acute, it's little. Acute angle, it's tiny and cute.
How does its size compare to a right angle?
It's less than a right angle.
An acute angle is less than a right angle. This is an obtuse angle.
So remember how we showed before with the perforated line, the 90 degree mark, the right angle would be going straight up from here. So this is greater than 90 degrees, so that's obtuse. Obtuse. You can kind of think of obtuse as like obese, very large.
How does its size compare to a right angle? An obtuse angle is greater than a right angle. This is a straight angle. It forms a straight line. Is a line segment also an angle? No, a line segment is not an angle because it is not made up of two rays with a common endpoint. A line is a straight angle made of two rays on the same line. Can an angle be classified as two different angles? No, an angle is classified based on the size of its opening. Now you know how to describe parts of lines and types of angles using geometric terms.
Okay, let's look at our quiz questions and do some examples together. Okay, so this is a little bit of a review from yesterday. What type of lines are shown? So I have two lines that are crossing one another, but they do not appear to be making right angles. So they would be intersecting lines. Remember, perpendicular are the ones that make right angles. Intersecting are ones that just share an endpoint. What type of angle is shown here? Now, this angle is upside down, but if you flipped it upside down in your head, if you can imagine it rotating, it still is a big L. It's making a right angle. So this is going to be a right angle, 90 degrees. What geometric figure is shown here? So we have a line and it has an arrow on both ends. So a ray would have a endpoint and an arrow, so it's not that. A line segment would have two endpoints. A line is going to be like a number line with arrows on both ends, so it's going to be that one. The point is just a point in space with a label on it. What type of angle is formed by the hands on the clock? So if we look at the hands of the clock, they are going like this. They're making a big backwards L. So that would be also a right angle. A straight angle would be a perfectly flat line. Obtuse would be if the hand was at the 9 and maybe at the 1, because that would be greater than 90 degrees. And acute would be at the, if this hand was at the 9 and this one was at the 11. Okay, so it's going to be a right angle. And then this last one, it's saying Samantha is using the map below to get to the shopping center. Which of these roads is perpendicular to Bluebird Road? Now remember, perpendicular, when the lines cross one another, when they intersect, they form right angles. So this is Bluebird Road. So we want to see which streets make right angles. So 15th Street does, but it's not an option. 16th Street also does, but it's not an option. Skelly Ave does not. They cross, but they would be intersecting lines because they don't make those 90-degree angles, but 17th Avenue does. So we're going to go with A, 17th Avenue. Let's see if we got them all correct. Yes, we did. I want to do the same thing I did with y'all yesterday and just go over the R page with you before you guys go ahead and do your P page, okay? So the R page just has this review for you guys. A line segment is a part of a line. It has two endpoints. This is line segment XY, okay? So this is how you would draw a line segment. You kind of want to make a miniature one over the letter. So this is XY. Remember, when we're writing them, we want to write from left to right, just like we're reading. A ray is a part of a line. It has one endpoint and goes on in one direction. This is ray AB. Notice how it has just the arrow going in the one direction. A right angle is a square corner or 90 degrees. It makes that L. Obtuse angle is greater than a right angle, so it's larger than 90 degrees. An acute angle is less than a right angle, so it's less than 90 degrees. And a straight angle is 180 degrees. It's flat. So we have to describe these angles. So our first one, if I look at it, if I drew a line straight up from here, that would be my right angle at 90 degrees. And this is greater than that, so this one's going to be an obtuse angle. This one is a straight line, so we would call this a straight angle. We could even write it's 180 degrees. This one has two endpoints, so this is going to be a line segment. Number 4 is asking us to name 3 different rays. So rays, if we look up here, it has an endpoint and an arrow. So we need to find an endpoint and an arrow. So I can really pick any endpoint. I could say, if I start here, I could say endpoint or ray EC. So I would write EC and draw the ray above it, put a comma. I could say ray EL because there's an endpoint here and it goes to the L. So I could say EL. I could say ray FG. FG. Those are our 3 rays. Another one could be D. This one, number 5, is asking us for 2 different line segments. So if we look up at the top, remember line segments have 2 endpoints. So we're just looking for a space between 2 letters that has nothing else in between it, ideally. So we could say EF would be one. We could say DC could be one. And then we could also say AB would be one. So those are all different line segments, okay? If you guys need any help with this at all, please feel free to reach out to me on Class Dojo. I'm available all day to answer questions for you. I hope that you guys are having as much fun with geometry as I am. I really love it. It's one of my favorite topics of 4th grade. I'm sorry that we're not doing it together. I am very proud of the work that's coming in. I miss you guys. I love you guys. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Take care.